I never imagined my marriage would end the way it did. If anything were going to destroy us, I thought it would be something dramatic, betrayal, money problems, or a massive fight we couldn't recover from. But it wasn't any of those things. It was words. Careless, cruel words I was never meant to hear. Words that cut so deep that the moment they reached me, I knew nothing between us would ever be the same again. And the worst part? They came from the woman I trusted most. My wife. It was an ordinary Saturday evening. I had just returned home from running errands, the car still full of groceries. As I stepped inside, I heard laughter coming from the living room. First I smiled. I assumed my wife had a few friends over, just catching up like she always did. But then I stopped. Something about that laughter felt wrong. It wasn't playful. It was sharp mocking. I quietly set the grocery bags down and paused in the hallway, just out of sight. That's when I heard her. "He tries so hard to act confident," my wife said, laughing. "But honestly, it's embarrassing." One of her friends chimed in. "At least he doesn't realize how pathetic he looks." More laughter. My stomach dropped. I froze. For a moment, I convinced myself they must be talking about someone else. But then my wife continued. "And don't even get me started on how he dresses. I've tried to help him, but he never listens. Sometimes I look at him and wonder how I ended up with someone like that." Each sentence hit harder than the last. My hands trembled. My chest tightened. This wasn't teasing. This wasn't harmless joking. This was cruelty. The woman who promised to love me was openly mocking me, tearing me apart in front of her friends. I listened just long enough for something inside me to break. Then I stepped into the living room. The laughter stopped instantly. Their faces went pale. My wife's smile vanished, replaced by fear. The room was silent. I looked at her friends, then at her. My voice shook, but it was firm. "Everybody out of my house." No one moved. I repeated myself, this time yelling, "Get out." They scrambled for their things, avoiding my eyes. When the door finally closed behind them, my wife turned to me, trembling. "Please listen," she whispered. "It was just a joke. I didn't mean it. Calm down." But there was no calming down. I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but emptiness. "Pack your things," I said. "Leave. Tomorrow we're getting a divorce." She cried. She begged. She apologized. I stepped back. Words like that aren't accidents. They come from somewhere real. That night is mostly a blur. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard her voice again. Embarrassing. Pathetic. How did I end up with him? You don't say those things about someone you love, especially when you think they'll never hear you. And without respect, a marriage cannot survive. By morning, she had packed a bag. The silence between us was heavier than any argument we'd ever had. I filed for divorce that Monday. She said I was overreacting. She claimed it was a misunderstanding. But I knew the truth. That moment wasn't the beginning of the end. It was the end. Because if your partner can mock you, belittle you, and laugh at your expense when you're not around, then the love you believed in never really existed. Leaving her was the hardest thing I've ever done, but also the most freeing. I would rather be alone than spend my life with someone who sees me as a joke. And that's how a marriage I believed would last forever ended in a single night. Not because of cheating, not because of lies, but because of something far more painful. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe. I share real stories about love, betrayal, and self-respect. And your support helps this channel reach 1,000 subscribers.